ARA History Untold is a new strategy game in the vein of Civilization created by Oxide Games. Oxide Games is a development company primarily composed of former Firaxis employees. You know, the guys behind the game Civilization. Why do we do this? Why do we all have to endlessly compare the new to the old? I'm guilty of it, and so are you. Steam reviews boil down to either, it's a Civ clone, but a bit different, and I like it. Or, it's a Civ clone, but a bit different, and I hate it. Well, I'm the kind of guy who thinks that you can't give something honest judgment without at least trying it first. So I decided to give it a shot. Humankind is not ready for this shakeup. This old world can't handle it. After all, for millennia, this subsection of the 4X genre has been thoroughly dominated by civilization. Can we truly handle another? I actually would like to give ARA a fair shake. So I played through 200 turns, reaching the start of Act 2, which translates to roughly 17 hours of raw gameplay footage. I'll try to show off the interesting bits and give my honest thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys think though, and you should definitely leave me some comments. If you end up liking this video, give it a like, or if you hated it, feel free to give it a dislike.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Without wasting any more time, let's go. So we're playing on version 1.0.3. Let me just creepily caress all these menu options with my mouse real quick. The settings are fairly standard as far as modern games go. One thing I will complain about is there's no hotkey for a photo mode or a hide the UI button. There's a thing called attract mode, but it isn't really the same thing. With all the settings looked at and initially tweaked, let's start a single-player new game. Wow, so right off the bat I thought, damn, that's a big list of leaders. 42. Civ 3, after all the expansions, has only 31. Civ 4 has 34. Civ 5 has 43. And Civ 6 has 50. So dead center in the bunch. I guess it really isn't such a big list. If you're a cool customer and buy the Ultimate Platinum Game of the Year Super Deluxe Premium Exclusive Gamer's Choice Gold Legendary Edition, you get a few alternate skin packs, 6 extra leaders, the original soundtrack that you can find on YouTube tomorrow, and the digital art book, which I'm sure is nice, but I'll never look at it. I'm just so fucking sick of DLC and version differences and season pass bullshit. I don't know about you guys, but I remember when games came on physical media as a solid, complete product. I mean, I'm not saying just because a game gets a physical release, it's somehow better. There were plenty of crap games back then, but having to physically release a game into the world created some kind of finality, some kind of statement that, here, this one is ready to play, come and get it. I know it's probably a godsend to be able to edit and tweak and fix your game on the fly with virtual updates and give longer life to your games with downloadable expansions, but the whole thing's just become an excuse to push out half-finished garbage crap. Tangent aside, ARA and Oxide Games aren't the cause of the whole mess. They aren't even a particularly egregious example of the issue. They aren't really making it any better by putting their complete experience at a $79.99 price point. So you be the judge if it's worth it to you or not. To me, it's pretty damn steep for a few bells and whistles. Back to the leaders, on initial glances, there seems to be a pretty decent mix here. By my count, numerically, a majority representation is by European and Western leaders at 18, followed by 7 Asian leaders, 6 African leaders, 4 Middle Eastern leaders, 4 Native American leaders, and 3 Hispanic leaders. Compare that to Civilization 6 at 30 Western, 15 Asian, 10 African, 6 Middle Eastern, 5 Native American, and 1 Hispanic leader. It pretty much rubs out the same. Much like other games in the genre, each leader has unique abilities that should impact your gameplay and strategery. Coming into a new game like this, commonly people feel overwhelmed with the information they're supposed to grasp from the get-go. For that, I'd say just pick whoever looks most badass or interesting to you. Your first game is going to be a big learning experience, so I wouldn't get too caught up min-maxing just yet. I settled on Charlemagne. How could you say no to that guy? So, like I said before, I have 0 frame of reference for these abilities. Carolingian Renaissance. Plus 25 city knowledge in your capital during Golden Ages. Plus 100% masterpiece creation speed in your capital during Golden Ages. Your palace provides plus 5 wealth and plus 1 research per turn. Its Golden Ages sound pretty good. Plus 50% build production towards government and military improvements. Plus 20 strength to forces within your capital. Plus 20 craft production to all crafting improvements in all cities. Plus 5 turn duration of Golden Ages. Charlemagne, an 8th century emperor, united much of Western Europe in what would become the Holy Roman Empire. Charlemagne led successful campaigns in Muslim Spain, France, Italy, and Germany. An able administrator, Charlemagne encouraged literacy and education across the empire, igniting the Carolingian Renaissance. Sounds good to me. Let's continue. Game setup seems fairly standard to me, kind of bare bones. 10 difficulty levels. Is that really necessary? I trimmed that down to like 5. No scenarios. You can just select from a few preset maps or generate a new map randomly. For this playthrough, I went with the difficulty of Viscount and the Indus preset map with 12 competing nations.
As it is decreed. Charlemagne, the time has come for you to rise and unite the scattered realms under the banner of the Holy Roman Empire. The wilds ahead will be tumultuous, but have faith and you will persevere. By sword or by symbol, by law or by writ, you will be the one to usher in the new age, and the world will be forever changed for your passing.
Sounds great. I decided to play with the tutorial for my first go-round, and honestly, I'd recommend it for your first game as well. It wasn't too intrusive, and you can hide it if you find it useless. It didn't really promote optimal play on my part, but it did help me navigate my way through the game. Just looking at the game's graphics, I would say that they're pretty good. The world looks nice. I like the little buildings and all the little people walking around. I like the little details, like when you zoom in on like little animals, or you can see the birds flying, or the wolves running around in the forests. I like those little details. The UI, it's all right. To me, it seems kind of like a bit of a mix between Civilization 4 and 6. If I was going to try to peg it down, it definitely could be improved in a few different ways. One big way I would say would be a big improvement is if you could right-click to dismiss any UI element. That would be helpful, but as it is right now, you have to click escape sometimes, or sometimes you can right-click things away, but other times, you have to click other buttons. So when we click on our city, we see a lot of stuff going on. You can see the growth of your city. That's how quickly your city is going to acquire different regions. They're called claims. You see how our city occupies one little region at the moment, but as it grows, we'll be able to claim those different zones that are surrounding our city, and we'll bring those resources under our control. You can see the overview, which is just an overview of all the different basic resources that this city produces. Amenities are bonus items that you can produce that oftentimes they'll affect the production or the quality of life in your city. Speaking about quality of life down there, we see there are 5 different quality of life metrics. Off the top of my head, I believe it's happiness, health, knowledge, prosperity, and security, something like that. Each of them gives different bonuses. The higher the quality of life, the better. Also worth noting is you need to have a positive quality of life. If you have positive ones, they can give you bonus golden age points, but if you have negative ones, they will actually decrease your overall golden age points. They'll give you a negative. You can see over there, the region Akchin, I think that's how you say that, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zones in it. That's very good. 5 zones, I believe, is the max. And each zone is able to hold a building or an improvement. Or, if you take up the whole region, you can build a wonder or a triumph, they call it here. But we'll get into that later. Okay, but selecting a project, the tutorial is asking us to build a farm, which is going to increase our food production. I'm not sure if just building a farm not on a resource in your starting zone is like optimal. There are some buildings that get bonuses by being in your city center. So it's just something to think about. All right, researching a technology now. So in ARA, a lot of the technologies actually overlap. In this first little playthrough I did, I chose to research everything in a line, essentially. And I noticed that a lot of the later technologies kind of would fill in technologies that I had already researched. And that's because of the advancement mechanic in ARA. You can choose to only research certain technologies, and then once you unlock the advancement technology, you can just research that and go on to the next era. You don't need to research everything. I can definitely see like figuring out like a good build, or using scouts and looking around and figuring out, oh, I don't need that technology, I need this technology instead. So that could lead to decent replay value, potentially. And I choose pottery. So as we can see here, there are actually dangerous wild animals out in the wilderness, which is something that I actually kind of like. This is a cougar. You need to clear out these dangerous predators, otherwise you won't be able to use the zone. It'll just be occupado. Jumping forward a bit, our farm is complete. So if you notice, looking at an improvement, there are optional slots for supplies. Much like amenities, supplies are goods that you can produce in your city or other cities that will increase the production of particular buildings. Each building has, you know, a certain set of supplies that they can utilize and just become a more efficient improvement. One difference being amenities are consumed by the city, where supplies are slotted in to the improvement and they are not consumed. You can put them in there or take them out as many times as you like. Also, if you have a sharp eye, you'll notice there's another slot right there for an expert. An expert is like a specialist citizen that you unlock as your city grows that will just further increase the production. Alright, so next it wants me to build a workshop, so we'll do that. Workshop is where you can produce a lot of these goods that I've been jabbering on about. And we researched pottery, which will allow us to build ceramic shops. Then I think I better get my drink on. I'm gonna research fermenting. There's actually quite a few grapes around and rice I see. Plenty of things to make alcohol with. Here is the prestige display, whatever you want to call it. Doing different things will get you prestige. Prestige, essentially, is just victory points. The more prestige you have, the more victory you have. One critical thing, if you are the lowest tier of civilization, being, you know, the lowest, like, whatever percentage, whatever fraction, I think it's like the 4 lowest when you're playing with 12, or like the 3 lowest, something like that. If you're the low man on the pole, at the act change, you will be forgotten to time. You lose. Good day, sir. So there is an incentive to not be at the bottom of the list. You definitely want to be accruing as much prestige as you possibly can. Okay, workshop's done. So, workshop is a crafter. You see, we can craft basquets and stone tools, or lithic tools for the nerdy people among us. Much like everything else, you can slot in goods to increase production further. So there's like, this game is very much about stacking bonuses. To me, it seems. Although these ones don't get a special name, these are just called goods. Because amenities are special goods that you plug into the city. Supplies are special goods that you plug into the improvements. And then these should be like work goods or something. I don't know, like something else. They're just goods. Just put goods. You can plug them in, and resources, goods and resources. Let's see here, we can put wealth and materials to further speed up our production of lithic tools, which is what we want. We want a lot of tools. You're gonna need a lot of tools. Hey, fermenting's done. We can get drunk now. Yeah, raise the quality of life. Okay, so our soldier, our spearman, is done being produced. In ARA, your units are used a bit differently than they are in Civilization. Once you build a military unit, it's going to remain in your reserves until you deploy them. And you can deploy your units in different formations. Right now, I think we just unlocked a multi-unit formation, but you just fill in the correct type of unit into the squad or formation, and then you deploy them. Sometimes the formations have bonuses, so that would be the allure of deploying in a formation and kind of setting up your little chess pieces, like, oh, I need 2 cavalry and 2 ranged, and then I get a bonus. Or I need 3 melee and 1 ranged. You kind of can mix and match your units around. Pretty decent system from what I saw. So just jumping forward a bit, we can see that our spearmen are about to engage with a pack of wild cheetahs or something, whatever they are. What are they? Yeah, I think they're cheetahs. What are they? They're leopards. Look at those guys go.
A boy no older than 16 enters your court, springing with excitement. He explains that he and his friends were climbing trees, and while sitting atop a giant oak, he spotted a raised and unnaturally round hill and smoke, as though from a campfire rising in the distance. He requests support to safely investigate.
So we got an event here. Now, from what I played, each little event you could either do a good option, an okay option, or kind of like either a bad or an ignore them option. And of course you have to pay more of whatever resource they want for the good option, but you get a bigger bonus from that. So in this playthrough, I chose to always pick the best option that I could.
The nations of the world become more connected. Illustrations of nature's many flowers are treasured by commoner and leader alike. To display the diversity and splendor of the world's plants in one garden would be a great undertaking, but would certainly sow unity and appreciation for the nation that created it.
So you'll get these act goals. The ones that I've gotten so far seem to be just to build a triumph, like an ancient wonder. And they give you just like a nice bonus of prestige. Just kind of something to work towards. We've encountered a tribe.
Sighted young man approaches your advisors. He bows deeply before formally asking to be taken on in their care as an apprentice. His tribe's elders explain that the request is an immense honor, and that the young man would be in your nation's service as long as you provide him education, food, and housing.
Tribes are just minor civilizations that, from what I've interacted with them, you kind of just do little random events for them. You give them resources, and if you make them super happy, they will join you. I'm sure you can take them over with your military as well. But yeah, each tribe kind of has like its own little event, and I'm hoping that there are quite a few events, because I definitely will say if replaying each game you're going to get the same exact events, that is going to be very grating on subsequent playthroughs. But again, I choose the best option each time. So, we have finally met another nation. Let's see.
An unknown society extends its hand.
Christopher Columbus? No, it's Nicholas Copernicus of Poland. So, just like other civilization type games, we can trade with our neighbors, we can fight them, we could close our borders to them, we could give them a gift, things like that. Ah, I guess we also have met another Tokugawa Ieyasu. Hopefully we all can get along great. We're gonna have problems. We need to step our game up. We can't be number 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever we were. We need to be number 1. So here is something I should mention. If you are friendly to your neighbors, they will propose trade agreements. And I didn't quite understand how they worked initially, but what you need to do is you need to accept the trade agreement. And then when it's active, you need to go into diplomacy and select which goods you are choosing to receive in this trade agreement. It's a little more advanced of a system where you can kind of quickly, on the fly change, oh, I don't need this resource anymore. I want that from you, or I don't even want that from you. I want this from somebody else. You're limited on the amount of goods that you can receive by the number of merchants that you have. I believe we start with 2 normally. Yeah, see, I just didn't even understand. I didn't select anything. Kind of a waste of an agreement, but you should definitely select which resources you want. And you see down there, merchants available, 2 out of 2. We need more cities. So I made a settler. And selecting a good city spot is something that I am not an expert in. I definitely think your city center should have 5 zones, 4 zones at minimum. You need food. The whole thing is like your city will grow to encompass the other regions. So I'm kind of leaning towards food being important. Very, very important. At least early on. But I decided to just settle where the AI tells me initially. It has to know something I don't know. So for balancing and to prevent any civilization just from spamming cities, you actually have a city cap. You're only allowed to build so many cities at one point. Researching different technologies, building triumphs, and changing government types are the ways that I kind of found to increase the city cap. But this turn, we have founded our new city, the city of Augsburg. Very good.
As your emissaries into the settlement, a blacksmith from the tribe inspects their weapons with interest. With a soft smile, he offers to demonstrate a new type of metalworking unique to his people in exchange for tools and supplies.
Again, more of these tribal encounter events. Every time you meet a tribal village, they have one of these events for you. I think this is the last one that I'm going to show. But again, we try to do the best thing. If you do the best option, you usually get a bonus to relationship with that village.
Founders of your nation's newest city look to you for advice. They hope to build into the city's foundation a guiding principle, one that will chart its destiny. In this case, literally. Masons stand by awaiting your direction. What word should be carved into the cornerstone of the gathering hall?
I probably will show a few more of these types of events, though. These are the city events, I guess you can call them, or historical events. I don't know what you would call these, but these ones tend to deal with your cities.
You have reached the Bronze Age.
I could read all that, but I will leave some things for you to experience on your own. Reaching a new era unlocks a whole new set of technologies for us. And in each act, there are 4 eras. So we got some more work to do. We've unlocked a paragon. So each of these different paragons have unique abilities depending on the position that you slot them into. Some of them can be slotted into, specific positions. A big thing that they can do is they can either help your country or civilization as a whole, being an advisor, or you could slot them into a building to create a masterpiece, like a great work of art. One point that I will make is you need to really think about the units that you deploy. If you deploy a unit, you cannot combine it with another unit as of this point. I have looked at what they're planning to do in the new patches, and I think they're going to work on how the army mechanics work, but at this point, you can't upgrade your units once they've been deployed, and you can't undeploy your units, which would be something that I would very much like to see.
Red-headed young man from the Garmir clan is looking to open a new business. He's a capable herbalist, but his family's background is in metallurgy. Meanwhile, his hobby is creating reed pipes to sell to traders. He makes a promising case for each venture and requests national funding for one of his enterprises.
See, I like these city events because it shows us a little look at how our little people are advancing, the little buildings and whatnot. I like to look at them. It's kind of like an ant farm.
Envoy arrives at your capital, sent to share a message from their leader. They believe that your fields seem to be suffering from poor soil management. They offer advice on how to manage crop production in exchange for a portion of your grains.
Have we seen one of these yet? Other countries will often ask you for things. I could see on harder difficulties how this would be annoying, but playing on the super easy, I just gave them whatever they wanted. So this is like kind of the fun element of city management. The crafting and the slotting of things. It very much reminds me of ANNO. Have you guys ever played the ANNO series? It's a little less crazy than ANNO, but the kind of management of resources and using these resources to craft those resources to give a bigger bonus, it just very much This game very much reminds me of a light fusion between Anno and Civilization.
New faces from a distant land greet you.
Ah, we've met another neighbor. There's 12 other civilizations. This is probably the last kind of neighbor greeting that I'll show in this. God, I will say this game just looks so good. I love this aspect. I love to zoom in and look at how my city is evolving. So we're gonna send another settler down. And I will admit, playing on this easy difficulty, I really had no problems. I actually don't think I got into any military engagements with any other country. They were just very passive. But that didn't stop me from making an elite band of units for protection of the homeland. We've unlocked another paragon.
John the Baptist, Judean preacher who prophesied the imminent arrival of the Messiah.
This will be the last one of these that I show as well. But we put him in a slot to try to create a masterpiece. It's time for religion. And also, it's time for a government change. Changing your government is definitely a big bonus. As you can see, we get more cities, and we can select these unique policies that will kind of, you know, give flavor to your specific government. I would love to see more of those. There's only 3 per government that I can tell. And also the tax rate. I would like it if the tax rate was more of a slider, but c'est la vie. Oh geez, Poland is on fire. Ah, but our new city of Warmia is founded. Beautiful. Best get to work.
Scientists from abroad approach your academics asking for their help with your taxonomy. Their nation's biggest lake is home to so many unique species of fish, they cannot categorize them quickly enough. Will you spare some of your brightest minds to assist them?
How many of these have we seen? You don't need to see any more of these, do you? Finally got our first fermenting pit. Now our citizens can get properly shit-faced. That's what civilization's always been about, isn't it? Well, it looks like these guys burned each other's cities down.
It's free real estate.
We're number 1, baby. The golden age has begun. Remember all of the bonuses that we get for our golden ages? It's just about to snowball now at this point. So we've unlocked an expert. An expert is like a specialist citizen who you can slot into a wide variety of your improvements, and they kind of just give you various bonuses depending on where you put them. They seem to be pretty powerful. I think Mexico starts with an expert. Might be worth it to try playing as them. Ah, because we've gotten so faithful. It's time to found a religion. Naturally, what do we worship? And a perfect symbol for a perfect religion. Our cup overfloweth. So we've unlocked another government, but I don't think we're gonna change. Our brand new city of Setagaya. What's interesting in this game is that the little regions, they get like a flavored name depending on which civilizations are closest to them. So if you slap a city down close to Japan, your city might have a Japanese sounding name. Because we're so cool, we've unlocked an upgrade to our alcoholism already. I think it goes by your religious power, how many followers you have, you unlock more verses. Of course, being drunk makes you more productive, so natural choice. We need more money, buddy, so we make a trading post. Yar, matey, we be needed docks if we want to explore the high seas.
You are the first nation to reach the Iron Age.
We can work with iron now. Let's show something interesting. How about this? I really like how the wonders look in this game. Again, I cannot say it enough. The graphics are quite nice. Another golden age. We're whooping some major ass. I think I deserve a palace. It's a nice place for people to come and worship me. It looks a little modern to me, though. Because I'm so triumphant. Another triumph. They're wonders, they're not triumphs.
Incredible lighthouse has become a beacon for your people, leading them safely to your shores. It signals to the rest of the world your people's unprecedented skill and technical prowess.
Constructing the Great Lighthouse was actually an ARA goal, so we get bonus prestige for that. And now that we can fare the seas, we've unlocked the next era. Egypt beat us to Stonehenge, but no big deal. Because we got this guy. I guess I could show what it's like to make a masterpiece. Ta-da!
You are the first nation to reach the early Middle Ages.
And with that, we're in the Middle Ages. And oh yeah, I made the hanging gardens too. Snuck it in at the end there.
Rumors of your incredible gardens spread like wildfire across the world. Scholars from faraway places come to see and study the unbelievable diversity of natural light you have brought together in this one place.
Egypt made the pyramids. It's strangely fitting. And we're just about to bring a close to Act 1. I will just do a little flyby of the world, show you how things have advanced and all the neighbors that I met. I guess I'll kind of go over my last minute thoughts here. Just to reiterate, the UI is alright. Kind of a combination of a few different Civilization games smashed into a Frankenstein UI. It could definitely be improved. Much like combat and military management, I did see the news that they are actively working to improve their game with updates. I can't decide yet if I like the way the leaders look. They kind of have a bit of a Play-Doh look to them, a bit of a stylization, but they're kind of detailed. In Civilization 5, the leaders looked amazing. They were like hyper detailed, very, very cool. But you could also do a stylized look if you went fully into that way. It's almost like they couldn't pick a lane. And I've yet to see a game do the same thing that Civilization 3 did with the leaders, where they would change as they advanced throughout the eras. I thought that was so cool, and they never brought that back. I really missed that. One thing I will say, I like the resources and how things just keep getting more complex. I'm sure as the game goes on, it'll get even more crazy, but one thing where they didn't go far enough, I think, is requiring resources for units. Why isn't there where you need iron or ore or stone even to create different levels of weaponry, and you require X amount of weaponry to make a unit? You already need horses to make horsemen. Why it would make sense, you know? They require like iron for some units, but I just want more. Maybe I'm crazy. But 200 turns in, this is definitely where we'll call this one. This difficulty is way too easy for me. As you can see, I was dominating. Judging by that trajectory, I think I'd be in for an easy game of just clicking next turn, next turn, next turn, you know? But yeah, that's all I have for this particular video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I would love to keep doing more ARA content. Maybe I should stream it, but hey, you gotta watch me. If I'm gonna stream it, I don't want to stream it to nobody. Look at me. I'm sitting here streaming to nobody. Join the chat. Subscribe. Follow. Comment. What's your opinions? I'd love to hear it. Thanks so much for watching this one, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take it easy.